Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe and healthy during this difficult time that we're having. A little while ago I did a video about the only real way to lose weight, and I just wanted to do a little follow-up video that added some actual tips. I don't believe that tips are necessarily the complete answer to losing weight, because the circumstances where people lose weight are usually due to real change, which I addressed in the last video. However, if you are attempting to make real change, it's possible that certain tips may help you along the way. So in this video, I intend to share the tips that I believe will help you, that I use myself. First and foremost, I just want to say that I believe that everyone should accept who they are in the mirror at the very beginning. Accept and respect who you are. At the end of the last video, I spoke a little bit about body positivity and the unrealistic expectations that we have, and that the world of social media and the media in general impose on us or lead us to have. I gave examples of celebrity males who put themselves through serious tests so that when they do take off their top for you to see on TV, you see something unrealistic and sometimes unachievable. Women and men alike choose to put themselves through mental and physical unhealthy challenges in order to be accepted and in order to be good enough in the eyes of the media and the world and in their own eyes. In the last video I mentioned a couple of male celebrities and what they did in order to prepare for roles where they didn't wear a shirt. The intention wasn't to necessarily criticize them, it was to give you an understanding of how unrealistic it is to feel that you can look that way on a daily basis, because they don't look that way on a daily basis. They don't even look that way on an hourly basis when they do look that way. In that video I didn't give any female examples. As I myself am a man, the first thing that comes to mind is what men go through in order to look a certain way, because it relates to what I would go through in order to look a certain way. Jennifer Lawrence played Mystique in the slightly newer X-Men films. The second time that she played that role, she was noticeably slimmer than the first time. This was in order for her to look the way that fans and everybody wanted her to look, to play that role. And this involved her not eating, essentially, so that she could look the way everybody else wanted her to look. If you hate the way you look and you hate the way you are, then you're not going to love the way you look, and you're not going to love the way you are 2 weeks from now, even if you're making great progress. It's likely that because of this, you'll go back on yourself and have to start from scratch, and potentially you'll never achieve what it is you're aiming to achieve. So first and foremost, the object is to accept who you are and the way you look, because that is you and that's the way you look. Other people love you for who you are and the way you look, so should you. This way you can patiently focus on the journey from getting to one place to another. Anyway, just want to point out before I give the tips that I myself am not a nutrition expert or a dietary expert. These are tips that have helped me, and I hope that they can also help you. Tip number one is to understand that snacking can be, for many people, where you consume the most empty calories in a day. It doesn't mean don't snack. That's potentially unrealistic and unachievable. It definitely is for me. It does mean when you do snack, try to be a little reserved and exercise a little discipline around the amount of snacking that you do and what it is you have when you do snack. At the end of every day, most of us have the ability to put away quite a lot of food. And it's a time of day where we enjoy to indulge. It's a time of day where we can enjoy the foods that often have the least nutritional value. If there's one time of the day that you choose to exercise discipline, make that at the end of the day. Even if you choose to indulge more so at breakfast the next day, it's unlikely that you'll consume the same level of empty calories that you would have done the night before. Tip number 2 is to, wherever you can, make little swaps in your diet for what you know to be the generally understood healthier option. For example, if you like chips, then make them yourself using potatoes in the oven rather than buying them in a packet. The person making those chips doesn't mind how many empty calories you consume or whether you have any long-term health goals. If you really like bread, opt for whole grain bread rather than the cheapest white bread. I know that shopping healthy can seem expensive, but ultimately there is a myth to this. Beans are very good for you and they're very cheap. Rice is good for you and it's very cheap. Fresh vegetables are good for you and they're cheap. I know that some foods are more expensive than others, and I know that it can be a burden to have to spend extra money to have decent food. But if ever you enjoy a takeaway, you should know that that takeaway is considerably the most expensive food that you have all week. The healthiest and most expensive, carefully chosen foods from a supermarket still amounts to a cheaper meal than your average takeaway. Tip 3, leafy greens. This is random, but leafy greens are exceptionally good for you, and they have tremendously low amounts of calories. You could eat the whole bag of spinach leaves and it would have maybe 30 calories in it. Of course, this isn't massively appetizing, but what I like to do is I like to put a really large portion of leafy greens in my main meal, which makes my average sized main meal really big. Your brain and your body takes a little bit of time to register when you're actually full. If you start by eating the leafy greens, by the end of the meal you're more likely to feel full than you would have done if they weren't there. Tip number 4, this is really random, but if you like to, you can try and use chopsticks. It's something that I've been doing for a little while now because I guzzle through my food way too quickly. Chopsticks means the meal takes longer to eat. Tip number 5 is to realize that there are calories in drinks, and empty calories often. You can drink loads more water, you can drink diet versions of drinks, and you can have sweetener rather than sugar in your tea and coffee, if you have a sweet tea or coffee. And they even make 0-calorie syrups now. Anyway, these were just some hopefully helpful tips to get you on your way to making progress. First and foremost, love and respect who you are and how you are now, and if you don't change, then that's okay. More important than anything that I've said is to be happy and healthy. Ultimately, weight loss, health and diet is quite a large topic. It would take a really long time to go into detail in every area. If you want any advice or even just to discuss some of this, please don't hesitate to send me a message. I'll be happy to respond. If I haven't made this clear or any of you don't know, my name is Mr. Drew Hall and I'm one of the directors at LCTKD. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it useful. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.